the Supra project. So you see,
we make the strings louder.
ended one Supra video, starting another Supra video. So anyhow, you know, in the last video you've seen this whole thing getting blasted, not the whole thing, pieces of the thing getting blasted. And yeah, so right here, some of you guys may know what this is. If you guys watched the whole Ties Dicked S2000 thing, this is a F22C. It is out of a 05 Honda S2000. So it's a 2.2 liter, you know, dual overhead cam VTEC Honda engine, made it to a factory 6-speed transmission. From the factory, these things make like 200 and some horsepower. It's like 250 horsepower, something like that. Don't quote me on that. Anyhow, they make a hellacious amount of power when you turbo them correctly. Even on the stock motor, people make like 800 like horse on the stock motor. Anyhow, this motor, it was turboed. Something happened to it with the tune, cracked a ringland, and so the motor's hurt. It basically needs sleeved and forged pistons and rods and shit in there. But nobody, I searched the internet, nobody has ever swapped a Honda F22C or an F20C into a Mark IV Toyota Supra. So my idea, so this is still in the whole theory planning stages, is to kind of build like a what the fuck Supra. You know, I debated on the idea of the rat rod Supra, the no fucks given Supra, but I kind of decided, gonna make it clean, gonna do it right, try to put it back together as best as I can, but at the same time, I kind of want to do something that nobody else does. I mean, I'm building it, you know, on YouTube, and it'd be cool to entertain people. But the question that I was asking myself when I was doing this is like, what kind of car do I want? And it was something different. I want to do something different. But like, when you think of a Mark IV Supra and you see a Mark IV Supra, like 9 times out of 10, it's a clean one. Like, it's a clean Mark IV Supra with a 2J, or, you know, with a big single, or it's NA, or, you know, it's NAT. It's turboed, but nonetheless, it's a 2J. You know, I've seen the regularly swapped, you know, like a Viper engine one. I think somebody's done like a Ferrari engine. David, what engine have you put in one?
No engine.
David hasn't put an engine in anyone. And people done like LS swaps, stuff like that, turbo junkyard motors. I don't want to do that. So this is still in the theory stage. The top secret guys, or, you know, the top secret Supra, they did one of those, it's a 3JZGTE, which is a, basically a 2-liter, I think it's a 2 or a 2. I don't know. It's a 2-liter, 4-cylinder Toyota engine out of like the IS250s in Japan. And so they have like dual vvti. It's basically like a mini tiny aluminum like 4-cylinder with no turbo. But anyhow, so, but basically it sits flush right here with the front of that, and that's exactly what this thing. I measured it. The way the oil pan is on this, I think it would be a really simple swap. I would have to have the motor built, so I could go high power, like high horsepower, like easily like 800 horsepower if I wanted to. And the issue is the transmission, but I'm sure I could draft up a way to mate that to the CD009 Nissan 350Z tranny. That's super strong and basically the same thing that I have in my 2JZ drift car. But so yeah, that's we're theory testing here. So we're gonna stuff that guy in there. So we got it not really sitting in there. We have it in the engine bay. We got a jack underneath the tranny. But, I mean, look how far this thing would potentially sit back. I mean, that's like front of the thing. If because the way the S2000 oil pan is, it has basically kind of like a front sump, so you can see it sitting right there on the cross member, and there's not enough room right here in the back in order for it to actually go there. I was kind of looking at it and I was like, oh man, that would almost be perfect. But if I like really wanted to bastardize this Supra, I could cut the shit out of the tranny tunnel, and then literally like the front of this engine would sit like right here, like you know, like behind the front towers or whatever. So it'd almost be like it would be considered like a mid engine type of thing. But as of right now, I don't know. That kind of seems like a big pain in the ass, because literally I could get a 2J and I could bolt it in here just as easy as David could comb his fucking hair.
What's combs?
What are combs? Huh?
Yeah, where are they?
And I'm not dogging the boys though. I'm just
Hey,
what?
Harambe didn't have any combs.
Yeah, Harambe didn't have any combs. But yeah. So essentially, I was just being kind of a smartass putting this thing in here. I'm not sure if it's something that I really want to do. I definitely think it would be an interesting swap. I think it would be, but the only thing that I think would kill it is the lack of the torque, because there's a lot of guys with dyno numbers. You know, they'll dyno like 533 and like 400 foot-pounds of torque, or 300 foot-pounds. You know, like they just don't make a lot of torque, like, because it's a high revving, you know, Honda engine 4-cylinder. And David, the intake manifold, but yeah, it's yeah, I had to pull off the valve cover because the chain was gonna dink it. So that's you know, a quick little fail, but at least attempted to stick it in here to see exactly what it would fit like, which I really think it would be an interesting swap. But you guys will have to let me know if that would even be, you know, something that would everybody just unsubscribe and say fuck that guy, or would everybody be like, the way I kind of had it figured out in my head is like Supra guys would shit, Honda guys would fap, and everybody else would just be like, what the fuck, and they would just like want to follow along and see like how it worked. So we were gonna pull off the oil pan we did pull off the oil pan to see, because basically the issue we're having is this right here in the front. So you can see like basically the oil pump, pretty sure that's the damn oil pump, is right there in the front, and it's like, you know, driven by a chain. It's like, you know, I mean, that's a situation right there, unless I like completely cut the shit out of the cross member, which I'm definitely not going to do that. But you know, I just kind of figured, I was toying with the idea of this just because I thought it'd be an interesting, cool little swap, and it probably wouldn't take me too long if it would have went in there like I thought, which I was assuming that this front piece of the pan was gonna sit down in there. Or David, throw that pan in there real quick, like set it in there. So this is basically what I was thinking that it was gonna do, was just bam, literally like right there, just like maybe trim the back a little bit, and the back of the motor would have to be like way here. But look at that. Like, look at that. That goes literally like the front of the engine would be right here. Like that'd be dope. But and then like in that position too, it would line up, the tranny would line up right there. So really the only way to get that to work would be actually cutting the firewall and setting it further back. But I don't know. I'm not sure if that's worth it. Uh-oh. So we got an addition to the Supra project. So it's only been back here for like 2 weeks. But anyhow, my buddy Brian, he was headed down to Texas. He picked up this 2JZGTE vvti for his 240. And I seen he was down there. He's posting on Facebook and shit, taking selfies and going live and shit. And I was like, get me one. And so I called up the company, sent him some money, and just had Brian pick it up for me too. So he made the journey. And I got a hand-delivered JZ. So now we're gonna yank this thing out, and then shortly, this one is a front sump, so I'm gonna have to use the rear sump pan that I have over there.
Get that kid up.
on the spare. Yeah, we're gonna unload this thing. Alright, so I just got kind of anxious looking at this thing on the ground. So I kind of rigged up myself a little fuel. There's a, just in-tank fuel pump in there. I still got to put fuel in there. But hooked that up to the feed and the return, so that'll dump in there. I got a battery box right here. But, so I didn't get the ECU yet. They're going to go ahead and mail that to me. But, anyhow, I was just going to go ahead and grab this harness and unhook my little fuse box here, unhook my engine from this. This I have kind of a little standalone harness going to it, and I should be able to get it to reach over there, plug into my ECU and my wiring into my car. So my car will basically give it all the signal and everything that it needs to the ECU and the injectors and harness and stuff. And so yeah, that'll be pretty simple. But yeah, all I really have to do is hook up like the starter, like for the battery, and hook up the the plugs to the ECU. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook that stuff up now. So I found it. So we have a fire extinguisher on account of this is a little sketchy. So right here we have fuel. I guess we should make sure that's not leaking. Okay. So we got we got oil. And so basically all I gotta do right here, give that power. Electronic throttle body works. You can hear that thing whining. Come over here, we have fuel pump and we have the starter signal. So we won't do fuel pump real quick, we'll just hit the starter. Trying to think what else it needs. We need a little better starter. A little bit more of a chooch on the battery side of things. Shit. So positive. Try it again. We got power to everything over here. And now we have crank. Back up fuel. So we'll do a quick little blip of this, because I might have the shit backwards, because I always have it backwards whenever I first start one of these. I wonder what it could be. Let's just check engine light. Stuff shouldn't really matter. Plugged in, plugged in, plugged in, plugged in. So we're going to test something else real quick because it wasn't in park. And that might have not been firing the injectors, which means it ain't going to fire spark, which means it ain't going to want to start because it's like, no, screw you, I ain't going to start because you were in park. And it's cranking because I'm manually doing it. probably have the fuel pump backwards, because I always have it backwards. First time I did it, I had it backwards. Second time I did it, I had it backwards. See, I thought that was feed though. I was definitely not getting anything in the return line. Alright, so the fuel pump that I randomly found laying around the shop was actually the lift pump out of Jesse's diesel truck on his 24 valve Cummins. So basically, we have a lift pump in here, which those on a diesel, they typically run, I think it's like 4 or 5 psi or something small. But, so it wasn't feeding through the return right here. Now it just jumped off the ground, but yeah, so anyhow, I need to hook up that ground right there. And as soon as I hook up this thing, because now it's actually like, you know, spewing fuel like it should, like through the return, which is kind of sketchy. So you can see right there, it's actually shooting fuel out of that. So now, make sure this thing's like not gonna spray fuel where it's gonna arc and shit. So here we go. Come on. Oh, it's only giving me the fucking 2-second runs. What a mess I've made. So I'm gonna come back tomorrow and play with it a little bit more and see if I can get it to actually run for a while by itself. Figure out why it's only running for a couple seconds and then cutting power. I'm assuming there's some sort of a sensor or some code it doesn't like something. So, all right. So anyhow, I figured out kind of what, well, I think I figured out. One of the wires over here going into the coil pack wasn't, so it was only running on like 4 cylinders, so it was probably kind of pissed off and probably seen a misfire when it first started, so it didn't like that. When they took this thing off to compression tested, they didn't bother to put back the the little boots. So I'm missing those, so I'll probably have to order some new ones of those, which that's probably no big deal because those are probably new anyhow. But so this thing that kind of likes a start sequence, like because that's how my drift car is, like, because I have it wired up all like race car style-y. So anyhow, right here we'll block the fuel so it doesn't spray me with fuel when it first kicks on. And then yeah, she runs pretty good. Okay, so I know you guys, when this thing first kind of started up, it sounded like, it kind of sounded weak. What do you think? It sound pretty weak?
It was alright. It was needed more.
It doesn't sound
some massaging.
It doesn't sound like a JZ, and that, like, when I first got my JZ, so basically, when the one that's in here, and I had the stock twins on it for a while. And if you guys are interested in how much power you can make on a stock 2JZ, basically exactly like this, stock twins. I think I made like 423 horse on the dyno. You have to go watch the video. I'm going to put the link. There's going to be a little eye right up here. So you guys go ahead and click that and check out my dyno video of it in this car. And that was before I put the GTX 3582 on it. That's still on the stock ECU. I've yet to dyno that, but eventually I will. Anyhow, so there's this sequential turbo mode. Damn it. Alright, so before that rude interruption from the air compressor. So anyhow, on these engines, they have a true sequential turbo mode. So basically what that does is it closes off the downpipe, the exhaust. I have that zip tied open right now. Closes off the back of the down, like behind the turbo on the back turbo, as well as the boost pressure, so the outlet coming out of the turbo. So it has 2 valves. Basically that valve right there and that valve right there. And so what'll happen is you'll hit so it runs 100% of the exhaust gases through the first turbo until you hit like 7 psi, and then it opens up those actuators, and it releases exhaust gas into the back turbo and lets that one spool. So it basically gives you a good mid, low range power up to, and then a top end power as well. So if you're cruising around town in this thing all day like they do in Japan, you probably would never even open up that back turbo, not that much. But nonetheless, in the dyno video, I talk about it a little bit too, and you could actually see there was like 100 horsepower difference, or 100 torque difference at like low RPMs with the true twins mode, which is where they're both basically fully open like I just did, or in the sequential versus the sequential. So the sequential had 100 horse or 100 torque sooner in the RPM band when the first turbo was coming on right away, and then the second would kick in. Whereas in the true twins mode, both of those flaps are open. The exhaust gas is dispersed evenly throughout basically the whole time because the flaps are open. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up now, and you'll hear the difference in it. It actually sounds like a JZ. So. So yeah, basically the next video will be either, talking about the whole money situation with this, the figures, what I feel like I'm going to have into it when it's all said and done. And, with the 2J, the CD009 tranny, I'm probably going to get like a JDM, the rear diff and subframes and everything. That seems like it's going to be a decent option for me to go. So I'll have the rear TT diff with the LSD, like the JDM one with the big brakes front and rear. Has both the subframes and stuff, so I have extra subframes. But yeah, so with all that stuff said and done, the biggest issue that I'm running into right now, I mean, for the most part, the body is no big deal. Body parts are easy to get. They're easy to come by. There's plenty of headlights, taillights, all that stuff, body kits. The interior is absolutely the worst part about this whole thing in my eyes, as far as, because I feel like that's part of that's another one of the reasons why you get the Supra, is just that iconic, like jet, like fighter plane, like it's only faced towards you interior. So that's definitely a part of the thing. Going into the whole lack of interior and interior parts thing, I think one of the best avenues that I've actually found for finding interior parts is you guys. I'm on a couple of the groups on Facebook, like most of those. But if you guys see any like awesome, like a whole bunch, for the most part I see a lot of the stuff. But if you see something that you think I didn't see, as far as Supra interior parts or random parts that you think I need, I mean, obviously, like, you guys pretty much know what I need, which is like almost everything interior wise. Or if you guys know of one of your buddies, you have extra interior stuff laying around, I really need a gauge cluster. I really want to put together the whole HVAC system and actually have like AC, heater, all that stuff, the whole radio under the dash wiring. I need to get another console right here, or maybe a new thing, because the threads on that are kind of dinked. I was going to pull this out and paint that too. But yeah, any help with finding parts is much appreciated. You can get a hold of me, probably the easiest, on my Facebook page, the MotionAutoTv Facebook page, or Snapchat, any of that stuff. Also, if you guys aren't on my Snapchat, it's MotionAutoTv. I'll put a little guy here, and you could like snap code that. But yeah, everybody's seen this running on the ground last week, and they've seen the wheels on it, and so they got like a week before preview on it. So, but and as soon as I upload videos, I always kind of post on there. So if you want to keep up to date, make sure to do that. Another quick little tip is if you are on mobile, which I think like over 50% of my views are from mobile devices. If you go to the actual YouTube app, you go to the channel, next to subscribe, there's a little bell on it. And you can hit that little bell and it'll actually, like, as soon as I upload video, it'll just go straight to your phone. It'll, you know, a little alert will go off and then instantly be able to watch the video. And then you guys could go, you know, battle for commenting first on there. So I'm trying to, I think I kind of have a color in mind that I'm going to go with. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be, you know, talking about that, or maybe it'll just be a surprise when it comes out of the gun. I don't think I've talked about these wheels yet. I took a picture of them for Snapchat, and I thought I was gonna actually talk about them. I think I might have in another video, but these are 19-inch PIAA racing wheels, so it's a two-piece wheel. The fronts are 19, I believe, by 9 plus 20-ish, I think, and then the rears are 19 by 9 or 19 by 10 plus 20-ish. I don't know, something like that. The rear has like a 4 or 5 inch lip on it. The front has probably, you know, 3-inch lip. But I really like the style of these wheels. I definitely, you know, 19s, they fit Supras. Once it's actually sitting with some weight in the car and it kind of squats a little bit, which obviously I'm going to be doing coilovers here shortly as well once the body and everything gets all together. But yeah, so that's, you know, I know a couple of you guys commented talking about, you know, quit talking, more working. But so next video, there should be a lot of work getting done. Also, I'd like you guys to, in the comment section down below, be sure and kind of help me pick out the name. When I was first, you know, released this or started talking about this thing and pictures of it went on places and all the comments, basically everybody was just super like negative about it, you know, like I wouldn't even start that project unless it was free. You better got that thing for free. And so I thought about calling it the Negative Nancy Supra build. Let me know what you guys think about that, or if you have a name that you think might work as well. Or I thought about like Rags to Riches, like Rags to Riches Supra build, because I kind of want to name it. I kind of want the car to have like a name so that everybody like knows. It's just, you know,